It's trash day, I'm putting you out, it's trash day. Putting you out, it's trash day. Putting you out of my mind. It's trash day, I'm putting you out, it's trash day. I'm putting you out, trash day, I'm putting you out of my mind. Now I'm gonna clean up, now I'm gonna clean up, now I'm gonna clean up the house. I'm taking all your garbage, taking all your garbage, taking all your garbage.
It starts with some beer, so you shouldn't have fear. Two garbage guys with facts, but they both still have tact. It's that time at last for the best damn podcast. It's Can Crusher Day!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Can Crusher Spotlight. It is your host, Mark Martinez, and I'd like to welcome back for another great episode, another great interview with an OVW star. And this guy parties like a rock star. He is crazy. He's all over the place. He takes wrestling as it is, and he loves the sport of wrestling. Oh my God, I can't talk about this guy enough because he just lives the business. When you listen to the interview, you know that he was wrestling at the age of 1, more or less. He was doing stuff as soon as he could walk. He is crazy, and I am talking about William Lutz. He is a former OVW TV champion, and some say, he lucked into it, but this is William Lutz, and he is a rock star in OVW. And this was a great interview, guys. It really was. We find out about everything he's done in his last couple years of training and everything. It's just fun. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a minute, following our great sponsor, Collar and Elbow. Guys, when you go to Collar and Elbow and you are ready to check out, type in Can Crushers. That's right, we have our code finally after a little bit of time, but nonetheless, it is now here. Type in Can Crushers, all one word, both C's are capitalized. So it's capital C-A-N, capital C-R-U-S-H-E-R-S. Can Crushers. Just type it in and you'll get your code, and you use that all the time anymore, and it'll help kick back to us, and you'll get the great collar and elbow gear that we always talk about. So here comes Al, then we'll be back with William Lutz.
Wrestling, a love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connects emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
And welcome back to Can Crushers, folks. I'm really excited to have this guy on Can Crushers today. He's a former OVW TV champion, and he lives his life like a rock star. He really is a rock star in and out of the ring. Welcome to Can Crushers, William Lutz. How the hell you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Again, thanks for coming on and spending a little bit of time here with us, all right?
Not a problem at all.
All right, so let's rewind all the way back at the beginning. That's the way that we like to start our interviews. And Lutz, how did you get to love professional wrestling? Was it a grandfather, a sister, an aunt, an uncle? How did you find this business that we so love?
Ooh, all right, we're going all the way back. Let's see. Pro wrestling was always just around in my life. Like, I've watched pro wrestling for as long as I could remember. Like like, it was the norm in my family. Like, my dad and my brother were watching it, my older brother. And so it was always on. So I thought it was just the norm that, like, I thought everyone liked pro wrestling. Like it was just always there. So, like, for my earliest memories, I can remember watching pro wrestling.
What are some of the earliest matches that you remember watching?
Ooh, I can try and give you some, because, like, I can't remember, like, firsthand, just because, like, the network is out, and it's like I could sit here and, like, maybe lie to you and be like, oh, I've seen that, or I've seen that. Like, I've probably seen it, but probably to my earliest memory that I could think of, that's a tough one. I'm not sure.
Like NWO era, like that? Monday Night Raw?
Yeah, probably. Honestly, probably near the end, because I was maybe about 2, almost 3 when the Monday Night Wars ended. So I had missed it by half a year, probably being able to remember that. But honestly, some of my earliest, Judgment Day 2000, when Undertaker returned as the American Badass, that's probably one of the earliest memories of, like, watching.
Now, did that play a role into you really clinging on to wrestling then? Was that the phenom that everybody says that you're like, damn, I want to be this guy riding a bike to a wrestling ring sometime?
Yeah, absolutely. Undertaker is probably my all-time favorite, so that definitely played, like, even before that, so it definitely played a role in continuing me, like, grasping and wanting to make this a profession.
Okay, so a question that's not always asked, but it's one that me and my friends have. Okay, so there's 3 Undertakers in our books. The old school, the American Badass, right now is kind of like a mix of whatever he was. But then there was a Ministry of Darkness one. And I know you've went back and watched these now since you're an Undertaker fan. What's your favorite Undertaker?
Ooh, just because of the way he was able to evolve and kind of adapt to the timing of just pop culture in general, I'd have to say the Ministry of Darkness, because it was that kind of, originally, like, you know, the Undertaker was brought in, and it was during the golden era, as they call it, with Hogan and Warrior and Macho Man, and Undertaker was able to take that, you know, character and able to twist it and make his kind of own image to adapt to that, like,
the hardcore
late
era.
90s era. Right. Able to kind of move it towards those fans that they were bringing in at the time.
We would agree with you. Our favorite is definitely the Ministry of Darkness. A memory that's always stuck in our head is when he's going to crucify Steph on a cross in the middle of Monday Night Raw. That's just an image that everybody remembers.
Yeah.
Not for good or bad. We're going to leave that to everybody else's thoughts. But it was something. So besides The Undertaker, who else did you like? I picture you liking big men. But when we get to my comparison, I think you're somebody else. But you're also a Kane guy too, aren't you?
Well, honestly, sort of. It was a hit or miss. Like, it just depended if he was facing The Undertaker or not. Honestly, a lot of people didn't like it, but I was a huge, like, Kane fan when he started, like, teaming up with, like, a lot of the smaller guys. When he was teaming with RVD and Hurricane, like, that's my favorite Kane. I know a lot of people probably prefer the debut Kane where, you know, he ripped the Hell in a Cell door off and he was just, you know, beating everybody senseless. Like, that's cool and all, but, like, I had Undertaker for that. I didn't want to see Kane take that role away from Undertaker. You know what I mean? But I absolutely adore Kane as a pro wrestler. But that would be my favorite Kane, probably like 03, 04-ish.
Undertaker, I mean, scratch that. The Kane RVD is probably my favorite tag team that Kane's ever been in. I was not a Daniel Bryan one. I wasn't. So the RVD Kane, yes, I agree with that. That's some of his best matches were during that era.
Right.
So you've been in wrestling for a couple years. We'll just leave it at that. What pushed you into the business? I know it's been around your house, but was it your dad saying, you know, William, you've been watching this all the time. You're beating the hell out of our couches and you're breaking chairs. Why don't you go be a wrestler?
It was just always there. So like growing up, wrestling on trampolines with my brother, practicing moves in the pool, even in our bedroom. Those things. And then always it being around, and another kind of funny thing on how long it's like been in my life is my mother has baby books with tracking how far you're like prolonging and stuff as an infant, I guess.
Right.
And about the 2-year mark, I started making when they start crawling or walking, things of that nature. And about the 2-year mark, when I'd reached about 2 years old, I guess I finally started developing full sentences, and some of my first full sentences were catchphrases of The Rock.
Oh, I thought you were going to say crotch chops. I really did, but all right, I'm glad it was Rock. I'm glad it was Rock stuff.
Right. But my decision to get into it, it was just I always wanted to. Even when I had my chances to go play, play some football in college or things of that nature. It's just, even I knew then, even though I had the ability to go there, it wasn't for me. This is the only thing that's for me. It's always been there, and I just want to get back to it.
That was my next question. What other sports were you in? So football was one. We might as well stick with that. Where could you have gone to college to play football?
Pikeville was looking at me. That was one that they were really, really digging in deep, but I decided not to do that. That was really the only main one. I wasn't a D1 athlete. I was more D3 and under because of my size, but
nice.
Neither here nor there.
Right. You found the passion that you're at, and this is what's going to lead you to the next level in success down the road.
Right.
So
right.
Why did you choose OVW?
Other than the fact that it was a very just comfortable transition for me, being I live 7 minutes from the Davis Arena already. It was just I had watched OVW prior to even going there. I knew OVW prior to it because it used to be WWE's developmental. It was Impact's at one point, and then they broke off, and now we're right back with them again. And then I have some early memories of going to OVW shows. I wasn't a consistent fan with that, but I went to bigger shows when they were WWE's developmental, where they would bring guys down to do a show or whatnot. I remember when it was Six Flags, Kentucky Kingdom at the time, and they had a couple shows, and they brought Kane down one time, and they brought Eugene back down, and I think the main event was Kane and Leviathan at the time, Dave Bautista. So it was really cool to see.
So let's talk about some of your trainers. You've been there for a while. Let's just start with your very first trainer. Who was your first trainer?
In the beginners class, that was Matt Capitelli. I had the privilege of training under Matt Capitelli. And it was just some of the most fun I've had learning.
And then you transition into Rip and then to Al Snow. And how are they different? I mean, they both have years of knowledge, but there's just something a little bit different between both of them, right?
Right. Transitioning into Rip's class was a bit different for me than transitioning into Al's. When I transitioned into Rip's, I kind of just kept to myself. Didn't necessarily was not necessarily vocal with promos or just anything character wise, which is so not me if you really think about it. But it just took a lot of that and a lot of the guys who were going to Rips and even Rip himself to kind of pull that from me, to kind of get me out of my comfort zone to just be me. And that's what I got out of it the most at Rips, is just to not care as much, to just do you. But
not live in a shell, more or less.
Right. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. It's just, yeah, that's what I got out of it the most. And I'm forever grateful for that. And then transitioning into Al's was more of the psychology based, and it's still a work in progress, but I feel like we're making some changes.
You're making strides left and right. Don't get me wrong. A quick story I want to talk about is a couple times ago when I was down there, I got to sit in one of Al's classes and just watch some of the guys. And yeah, they worked on this, they worked on that, but Al gave them like a 10-minute water break in between. But Al didn't shut up the whole time. He was talking, and the eyes were focused on him. I learned more about wrestling in that 10 minutes, sitting there just spectating, than watching an arm drag or watching, a belly to back. He's unbelievable.
Oh yeah, truly tremendous. He knows his stuff. He just it's incredible how much he knows and how much he's willing to help. How much he's willing to help teach, because not a lot of guys take the time out of their day to do that, but he's willing to explain why, and it's impeccable.
It is the knowledge he has. So this is where I give you my comparison. Some people like it, some people don't, but I'll let you think of this, who is William Lutz? When I step back and look at you, I put you at two people. One, you're going to say, damn, that's probably a slap in the face, but it's not. So let me get my jest off. One, I think you are, since you're air quotes rocker, I put you at the Marty Jannetty thing. But on the same aspect, I see you doing a lot of moves of mid to late ECW Mikey Whipwreck. I see a lot of Mikey Whipwreck in you, carefree, and you have that spunk to get there. It's just you haven't had your chance. Yes, you've been former OVW champion, but some say that's a fluke. So Marty Jannetty, because you're the rocker type of guy, you got the flowing hair, you that persona is there, and Mikey Whipwreck is a competitor. So am I close? Who is William Lutz?
Neither of those are slaps in the face to me, just because even growing up, I feel like a lot of people don't necessarily, they finally eventually learn that vision, whereas oh, I don't like that guy because he doesn't do this, or I don't, you know what I mean? I don't like this guy because he loses. I don't like that guy because he wins. I was never really that kind of kid. I was just in awe of all of it. I liked everyone. So that's not a slap in the face at all, saying that I'm someone who's had as much success as Marty Jannetty or Mikey Whipwreck. Is actually an honor. I fully appreciate that. But do I agree that I am either or?
No.
Probably not.
Say no. Say no.
That's probably not, because that's just the modest person in me that's going to say no, because I don't want to be another one of them. I just want to be me. I just want to be unique. But if I had to put myself, say anyone, maybe Randy the Ram Robinson. That's what I would say.
Nice.
That's my guy.
I love that one. Wow, I dropped the ball there. I can see that. Yeah, I'm a jackass. I'm sorry, William. Yes. Oh man, I'll have to cut that whole thing out. No, I'm not gonna. But yeah, the Jannetty thing wasn't a slap in the face or Whipwreck because they were losing. I'm not saying that. I was saying because Jannetty had the look of you, minus the beard for Jannetty. That's where I pictured, but the Whipwreck style is where I went. So
I gotcha.
You are, I've brought it up a couple times, you are a former OVW TV champion, and as I said, some say you lucked into that, but we'll get into that whole thing in a minute, but you won it on your birthday, is that correct?
That is true. On my 21st birthday, I became Ohio Valley Wrestling's television champion.
Besides winning the title, because that within itself is amazing, how is it that, you win the title on your birthday? Is it just a little bit, is it the cherry on top of the sundae, the icing on the cake, or whatever you want to say?
It was something definitely unexpected because I wasn't even supposed to be in that TV gauntlet.
What? This is news
and to
me.
be the final I was not originally going to be in that TV gauntlet, and I was the final participant, and I defeated Randall Floyd, and it really is the icing on the cake that it was on my birthday.
And that's a notch on your belt, defeating Randall Floyd, because he's Rip Rogers'
Absolutely.
golden boy. He's been the golden boy since he's got there.
Yeah.
All right, a couple more questions, then we'll get into the really hard ones. They're not.
Okay.
TNA, as you brought up, is now partnered again with OVW. How does it feel in that locker room at any time? Josh Matthews could show up at Davis Arena, Scott D'Amore,
right,
and pull you aside and say, hey, kid, we want you for a spot on Impact, and you got to go to Ontario in 3 days. Doesn't that get you in the locker room juice knowing that they could show up in Louisville at any time?
Definitely. Just knowing that there is a possibility that someone from the Impact roster could be in town and may show up, it definitely keeps you kind of on edge to just do your best in the ring and just bust your ass. Absolutely.
Yeah, and you have. As we reverse back to the TV Gauntlet, you held it for 2 weeks, luckily. Do you see another, Drew Hernandez just got it back. So maybe you call out Drew now and say, hey, I'm also a former champion. We should scrapple.
Maybe that's in the future. Would absolutely love to wrestle Drew Hernandez. I don't think we've had a one-on-one, or maybe we have at a house show, but he's definitely someone that I do enjoy working with. But at the moment, I just qualified for the $100,000 ladder match at the 4th Street show on September 11th.
That was coming up.
So all my focus is on that.
Yeah, and let's talk about that. You have you in it as of right now, Dimes and Nigel. 3 more competitors to come in the next couple of weeks. $100,000. Right. How does that change your life?
It pays the rent. That's what it does.
And it
pays the rent and a little extra.
And it spotlights you because, again, it's at September 11th, Fight for Freedom on 4th Street. Guys, if you haven't bought your tickets yet, you're a fool. You should have them already because this show is going to blow everything out of the water. But everybody's going to be watching this because it's live on TV. So does that give you a little more juice?
Ooh, yeah, that definitely adds to it. We're going live. We're going live, and we got to be on it. Everyone on the roster has to be on it, but I got faith that everyone will be on it. And it's just it's definitely going to be a huge change, but in such a good way. And I think we're moving in the right direction. But it all starts at 9/11.
And it does. Let's talk about some of the people that are coming in as well. You have the Rock and Roll Express. You have Rhino. You have Chavo Guerrero Jr., Madison Rain, and recently announced Kevin Nash. I mean, these are big guys that you're going to be able to rub elbows with in the back.
Yeah.
Do you pull one of their ears and say, hey, can you tell me a little something? Or do you want to take out Ricky Morton?
Probably not Ricky Morton. I feel like he's I haven't had the privilege of meeting him yet. Obviously I will. But everyone gives him praise of being such a genius in the sport of pro wrestling, and I would definitely like to be able to ask him questions of what I can do better, or what is it that what are some things that that could help me out.
Yeah, and they still work well too. Let me tell you. They're in their 60s, late 50s, early 60s, and I saw them at the Crockett Cup earlier this year against the Briscoes, and it's unbelievable. Yeah. They still work.
Yeah, that's really crazy to think about because you don't see that a lot.
No, you don't.
You really don't.
You really don't. A couple other things. How much wrestling are you watching now? I know you guys are always in the gym or at training or this or that.
Right.
WWE, AEW's coming up. Are you watching old stuff?
Right.
Where are you getting some of your mental training from right now?
It's really all over the place. It just depends on my mood. Just about any like downtime when I'm not at work or I'm not training or A, B, C, or D. I am, whether it be watching old stuff that I can find on the network, whether it be watching just some of my old stuff to maybe try and get inspiration for other things. And then if I am home, I will watch Raw or SmackDown if it's on.
Do you have any favorites now? And I know it's weird asking you because you're in the business, all right? You're in the business.
Right.
But do you still have any
Right.
favorites that you're like, oh, man, I have to watch all of Cody's matches or I have to watch all of,
Right.
somebody's?
Right. I'd say as of late, I could probably go run through like maybe each company and kind of give a favorite or two.
All right.
If I really dig down deep and think about it. WWE, I'd say probably my favorites at the moment would be definitely he took the cake at SummerSlam, so I'd have to give that to Bray Wyatt as the Fiend.
Nice.
He's definitely a top right now for me. He'll always be in my top 5, even though he doesn't get much love, and I haven't seen him on WWE TV in like so damn long. Luke Harper would definitely be up there. As well as Bo Dallas, who's in a similar boat. So those are probably my favorites from WWE at the moment, or my go-tos. Like, I have other guys who I can easily watch, like, Rey Mysterio and that sort.
Right.
But,
yeah. Who doesn't watch Rey Mysterio? His matches,
Right.
Every match is a classic with him right now.
Right. And even Samoa Joe and AJ Styles, but I feel like that's the norm. Like, you have to like those guys.
Yeah.
They're just the matches they had in the X Division were just, oh my,
Unbelievable.
like I aspire to be that good one day.
Yeah. Pun included, they're phenomenal, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. NXT wise, I love Velveteen Dream. He's probably a go-to, as well as I like Matt Riddle. I like Matt Riddle and Killian Dane. I like what they're doing at the moment. I'm enjoying that. Those would be my NXT guys.
Matt Riddle fits you. I can see a little bit of Matt Riddle in you a little bit, bro. I really do. Yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate that. AEW wise, I haven't watched everything they've put out, but I feel like I've watched enough to kind of get the gist of what they're trying to accomplish. But I enjoy Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. That's probably my favorites, just because the uniqueness.
And they are. I love the teaming of both of them together. How it's a giant and a small person. It fits.
Right.
It really does fit.
It's another Kane and RVD vibe.
Yes.
Touch back on it. That's really what it is. And I said that's you haven't seen that since Team Hell No.
Right. So OVW is under invasion right now, and I know your focus is on the $100,000 ladder match. But when push comes to shove, do you got your guys' backs with OVE coming in and pretty much stealing Tony Gunn away? I mean, what the hell?
Yeah. I always figured that there was a mole or a rat in the locker room. I just didn't expect it to be Tony. I'm pretty sure Al Snow always expected it to be me or my partner Ashton Cove. But it wasn't. It wasn't. They started it. They started it when Fulton came in and ruined my matchup that I was definitely going to win. And I already had the win. I already had the victory. It was as good as done. And he attacked my partner Ashton Cove at ringside and proceeded to chokeslam me onto the apron. So they started it, and if he's ever down, I'm willing to finish it.
All right, yeah. And Ashton, always there, having your back as well when he's not knocked out in the corner. But that's neither here nor there.
he's got to work on that.
He
He's
does.
got to work on that.
He does a lot, but nonetheless. All right, like 2 more questions. You're young in the business,
Okay.
but there's the younger kid knocking at your door right now saying, hey, Mr. Lutz, what can you tell me that nobody told you your first day? So what advice are you giving to that next 17, 18-year-old kid wanting to be a professional wrestler?
Just know who you are, and don't really let anyone try and change that point of view. Just stay true to yourself, and you'll make it. You'll make it where your mind wants you to make it, if that makes sense.
It does.
Just stay true to yourself, and just know what you're capable of.
That's actually great advice outside professional wrestling too, William. I mean, you always get somebody saying, hey, shut up in the locker room, this, that, or the other thing. But staying true to yourself across the board in life is great advice. So thank you for spreading the word of that. That's awesome.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Last question, and this is my favorite of all time. I put a little spin on the whole thing. I brought it around myself. Some people are trying to steal it, but it's mine. So if you have a dream match, anybody before your time, anybody that, is around now, however you want to spin it, I want a dream match of who you want to wrestle sometime in your career, where at, and what type of stipulation do you want in that match?
Ooh, man, I might really have to sit down and think about it. But based off what everyone has probably already heard and what they're expecting, I might just have to go ahead and say it, because everyone's expecting me to say something along the lines of, oh, I want to wrestle The Undertaker at WrestleMania, at Notre Dame Stadium in a Hell in a Cell match. But I'm going to throw a curveball. I'm going to say that my dream match at this very moment, off the top of my head, would be a triple threat match at Madison Square Garden. The triple threat match stipulation would be a 60-minute Iron Man tables match between myself, Luke Harper, and Bo Dallas, with Jimmy King and Randy the Ram and Bonesaw McGraw doing commentary at ringside.
Holy hell, you just blew. You're the only one that's answered that one in its entirety, because I always have to drag it out of everybody. But now you're giving me commentators too. Holy shit. Who's going to be the special enforcer then as a referee?
Ooh, special enforcer. Let's go with one of the dogs from Al Snow's infamous Pendleton Hill match.
Oh my God. Perfect. Let me ask, why a triple threat? Just because you'd really like to work with Bo and Luke?
Absolutely, yes. And I think that might be the first match in history being a 60-minute Iron Man tables match. We'd blow the roof off Madison Square Garden.
How many tables, I'm still dying laughing at this, how many tables do you think would be needed for a match like that? If it's one, I'm going to be pissed spending an hour watching this and only one table is used.
Hey, that's I'll get as many as you need.
Yeah.
I'm willing.
Oh, the carnage. And then Pepper the dog is the special enforcer is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
William Lutz, thank you for coming on. Before I let you go tonight, though, let everybody know where they can follow you and keep up to date that, you're winning more titles in OVW. You're going here, you're going there. What's your social media, buddy?
Instagram and Twitter should be the same. It is at William L. Lutz, and Lutz is Lutz.
And you on Facebook as well?
I am on Facebook. You can find me, William Lutz, on Facebook.
Nice. So it's easy as that, folks. It's William Lutz. If you don't know how to spell it, look at the promotional video that I put up that has his name right underneath it. It's easy to find. So
you damn right.
Lutz, thanks for spending some time on Can Crushers tonight.
No problem at all. Thanks for having me.
So let me just start by saying what a dream match. Triple threat with Luke Harper and Bo Dallas, 60-minute Ironman table match. Stop for a minute and think about that. Just think of the pure carnage. Madison Square Garden, whatever. This could have been in a gym in Guam or whatever, but just this match itself, it makes this interview. How he came with that, he's been thinking about it. He clearly has been thinking about this for moons to come up with it so fast, and it's unbelievable. Then he says commentators and a special enforcer. I drug him out of that, but the dog from outside, the infamous dog match with Al Snow and the Big Boss Man. Unbelievable. Guys, if you didn't just get him living as a rock star, and that's the way he is, and how about quoting The Rock at the age of 2? This was a great interview. William Lutz, young into the business, but heart, passion, soul, into the business, loving the sport, and you're going to see this name for years to come. Make sure you follow him on all the social media outlets that he named, and just keep up with these young kids. They're younger than me, so I can say kids. As you heard, he just turned 21 recently. Just follow them. This is what wrestling is about. You know, if you want to dub it indie wrestling, go ahead, but support this indie wrestling because, as Al Snow says, stars of today, superstars of tomorrow. This is where OVW is, creating everything. OVW's been around for so long. You know, we're going to say Cena and Orton, and come on, if you don't know OVW, you don't know the backstory of professional wrestling. I want to thank Al Snow for making all this possible. Chad Miller, once again, reached out, just got off the phone with him about a few things. It's always nice to talk to both of them. And, of course, William Lutz for stopping by Can Crushers, and this is somebody that we're going to wrap back around with and talk again. The stories... I want to sit in the car and travel with them someday. I really do, and see what kind of a show. Maybe when we go video, just throw up one of those cams that we just record what happens in the car. It's unbelievable. Guys, again, we want to thank Collar and Elbow. We always say it. Make sure you check out their hats, hoodies, tees, sweats, you know, all that stuff. Great fan apparel from Collar and Elbow. And when you go to checkout, make sure you type in Can Crushers, all one word, capital C's, and you'll get your discount and everything. So, once again, I hope everybody has a great weekend, and we will catch up with you on Wednesday with our recap. But remember, next Wednesday is our last Wednesday show as we're transitioning to Sundays, and then these spotlights that you're hearing right now are going to shift over to Wednesday. This way we'll be able to cover all aspects of wrestling here on Can Crushers across the board. WWE, AEW, OVW, Impact, NXT, you know the whole routine. We'll still throw in MLW, and we go to places, we'll have all those special shows as well. So you're not losing anything, you're just getting a different day. Maybe you can relax with the family and listen to it, whatever. Sometimes our nonsense gets a little bit out of hand, but that's just where we are. Continue to vote on Facebook for our Can Crushers Legacy Tournament. Second round's almost over, so just keep keeping on. But remember, just because you're trash doesn't mean you can't do great things. It's called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot.